Welcome back, everybody. It's Sarcasm Speaks. Jared and Bob here coming at you. Patriots suck. They just lost. They're terrible. No surprise there, though. But whatever. They're going to be probably 1-7 and in contention for one of the top draft picks in the draft. So Drake May, Caleb Williams, who knows? We'll see. But you said you got something?
I can just start us out with a nice rant. So yesterday so I had to drive through Boston. It's been a while. Haven't drove through Boston in a while. So I leave my place. It's a 20-mile drive. I don't know how long it's supposed to. I think without traffic, it takes like 35 minutes, something like that. So I leave, get to the highway, drive by the drive to the on-ramp. On-ramp's closed. Like, okay, cool. Let's get the GPS on. So I'm driving straight and get over to the next on-ramp. That on-ramp's closed. So now I'm driving in Dorchester, past JFK to Columbia Road, whatever that rotary is.
Yeah, Columbia Road.
And finally get on the highway over there. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm happy I'm on, but like, what the fuck would I have done if that exit was closed too? Like, was I literally going to have to drive all back road? Well, first of all, if that exit was closed, I was turning around.
Yeah, I mean, if that exit was closed, you would have had to go up through Southie and like get on by I forget the name of the road, but it's like exit 16 or something. It's like right by where you get off to go to the airport. It's like Albany Street. You would have had to go all the way up. You would have to go like continue up through Morrissey Boulevard into South Boston, right? And then go across the bridge from Southie back over towards Albany Street. And then you would have got on the highway, basically like right in front of the tunnel.
So again, we avoid that.
Yeah.
So I get to Medford, whatever, no big deal. So I check the GPS. It's like, I don't even know what time of the morning, but my mother had the carpets clean. So I went up there to help her with a couple things, but like there was no point of staying. Can't stay in the house. The carpets are soaking wet.
Right. So
I basically just effectively turned around and left. I don't know, 9:45 or so. Check the GPS, 40 minutes. There's already some traffic. I'm like, well, I got to go now because if I wait any longer, I'll be going to drive through Arlington to Route 2 to take 95 home, which is fine. I just really didn't want to do that. So that 40 minutes definitely starts taking more than 40 minutes because lo and behold, traffic starts right out of the tunnel. Come to find out, they were street sweeping the highway at 10 a.m. on a Saturday.
Fun. That's
10 a.m. on a Saturday.
That's a good time to do it.
And now, is it inconvenient? Yeah, it is. Worst thing ever? No. But then I look on the other side of the highway, which coming north was the issue with all my on-ramp stuff. And they're like paving and working on the road. They're down to one lane at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Have you tried to get through Boston at 11 a.m. on a Saturday?
Yeah. Yep.
Takes fucking forever, right?
Yeah, it's not great. It's usually not great. All day, honestly. There is no good. Well, I would say like 9 a.m. or before. Like anytime before 9 a.m. on a Saturday, you should be okay.
Well, if I could have gotten on my on-ramp.
Well, yeah.
It would have been fine.
But for some reason,
15.
Anytime after 9 a.m. on a Saturday, it's impossible to get through Boston. Like you said, like
Heinous.
10:30 in the morning, there's fucking traffic.
Heinous.
Like, what are we doing? It's Saturday.
Yep. Well, again, it's just you can't get anywhere. But I just laugh because someone somewhere decided, yep, let's do this on a Saturday. Both projects. Let's do both of them on a Saturday. Let's have them go on at the same time. And so not only are you whoever's working that, they're getting paid probably double time.
Yep.
It's because it's a weekend, right? They were probably paying fucking crazy money anyway. And they picked absolutely and utterly not the worst time, because I would imagine 7:30 on a weekday would be the worst
It would
time.
probably be the worst time. Yeah.
But I'm just like street sweeping.
Or
Street
3 o'clock on a weekday, 3 in the afternoon.
street
Either
sweeping.
or.
Where street sweeping the highway
The
at 10
highway.
a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Do it at
Was it
fucking
just
6.
one or was it like 4 of them across?
No, so it's just one, because you don't need to street sweep the middle.
Yeah.
So it's there was like a convoy on the right. There's probably like 8 or so truck sweepers, people, cars, like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, it's like it's fucking stupid. You got people like sweeping. So people are hand sweeping so that the street sweeper can come and get it all.
That's nuts. So, you know what? That kind of makes me wonder if there was an accident there.
I
And
don't
then
know.
they're like
I
trying to clean up, because it
truthfully
does seem very odd to me.
couldn't tell you. I didn't think we street swept the highways.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I feel like maybe there was an accident and they have to clean up like broken glass or like pieces of car or something.
Maybe. But
Yeah. I don't know. That
I'll tell you one
seems very
so
fucking odd.
I'll tell you one thing though, coming south, or sorry, when I was going north, so looking at south, wasn't backed up. They weren't sweeping the street. So
Yeah.
I think something like that was planned by some asshole.
Probably.
But then on the other side, that's like, because again, the street sweeper is no big deal. The only reason I'm even bringing this up is because it was happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Literal,
And it was
like,
inconveniencing
paving.
you both ways.
Yeah, I don't know if I wonder if like the reason I couldn't get on my exit is because they were doing that work further south.
Oh, yeah. That
So I
makes
wonder
sense.
if that's why. Because where they were working, I did drive by that on the highway and it was not an issue. This is all like outside like the New England Carpenter Center. Like that's where all this was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean we're paving and fixing roads and shit like that. Saturday, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Like I thought you did shit like this at like 11 p.m. Like 11 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. You do it overnight when there's no one on the road.
And like, yeah, for the few people that it does inconvenience, you can usually like maneuver around still. What
The only thing,
fuck?
yeah, the street sweeping, that can certainly be done overnight. The only thing I'm not sure of is paving the roads if it needs to be a certain temperature. Because right now, like it is dipping into like the low 50s and high to mid 40s overnight.
So let's
I don't
just
know
play.
if you can like
Let's play the game.
lay asphalt when it's 45 degrees outside.
So I'm no paving expert. So let's just pretend we are.
Yeah.
Like you know, like how everyone else speaks, they're fucking experts in everything except like what they might act like. They might actually be an expert in something, but they like pretend they're
Yeah.
experts in everything.
Oh yeah, no, I know that.
So we'll be expert asphalters for a second.
Yeah.
I'm definitely with you. There is definitely a temperature that's too cold because as far as I know, no one gets driveways paved or anything
In the
unless
winter
it's the
in New
summer.
England. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's definitely a temperature. I find it hard to believe that 45 would be too cold. Because 45, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's cold, but it's not that cold.
Yeah, that's fair.
If we're talking like freezing, like if it was getting down to 32
Yeah, if
overnight
it's like
or something like
35
that,
degrees.
then I would imagine, yeah, there's going to be some problems. And it's like, well, if 45 is a problem, got to remember it was probably only like fucking 53
Yeah.
at that time of day.
Yeah.
Now it is warmer on the highway, whatever, but
Right.
like
Yeah.
ambient, it wasn't that warm on Saturday. Or I mean, I think it eventually got there, but it probably got there by like noon, 1, 2, 3 o'clock.
Right. Not at 9 a.m.
So on a road that already
Sucks.
sucks, can't do anything, can't maneuver anywhere. 10 a.m., they decide that they're going to work on this shit. It's just like, who the fuck is in charge of these things? Like,
Yeah, I've
who decides this stuff?
it's so bad that I've like permanently punted on 93 unless I actually have to be in Boston. I like even like when I go to Cambridge now, when I have to be in Cambridge, I go back roads. Like I go all the way up. It depends. I kind of like judge the traffic. I either go by you and like into Cambridge through like Mattapan and that
Oh my
way,
God. What a
or
fucking.
I go by Bill. Like I get off and I go through JP up the Jamaica way into Brookline and then like over the BU bridge. And then that puts me right in Cambridge. It's like that's usually how I go to Cambridge because I refuse to sit in 2+ hours of traffic on 93 because it's that fucking terrible. And like it may only save me like 15 minutes, but at least like
You keep
going
moving.
like the Jamaica way, like I'm moving, right? Like I hit the occasional red light here and there, but like I'm not at a dead stop on the highway for fucking 10 minutes at a time. So yeah, like anytime, like if I'm going to New Hampshire, like if I'm going to my mom's or something, like I just go 95. Like I get on 95 here and just stay on 95 the whole way. Like I'm like I'm not touching 93, like unless I have to.
Yeah, and anytime I go like North Shore, it always wants me to go 93. And I'm like, I'm not doing this because
Yeah.
no matter what, even if like the GPS gives you the clear, by the time you actually get to the trouble spots, it might not be clear anymore.
Right.
And it happens that fucking fast.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. They got to blow up. Truthfully, you just blow up Boston. Start over.
Well, they thought they were gonna on Friday. Did you hear all that craziness?
Yeah, no. I know what you're speaking of, but no, I didn't pay any attention to it.
Yeah, it was like I think on Wednesday of last week or something like that, or some point last week, the former head of Hamas, I think, or whatever, the former president of Palestine or whatever. He's the former of whatever he used to do. He came out and called for an international day of jihad on Friday. And everyone was like flipping out, right? Like everyone's like, oh, this is fucking bad. They're going to blow up fucking major cities, like all this stuff. And it's like, okay, I mean, we'll see, right? Like, we'll see. You know, like there's no reason to be like freaking out over it, right? Like, I don't know. It's one of those things where, yeah, like someone can come out and say that, obviously. But the other part too, and again, this goes back to what you said, everyone's a fucking expert and everything. So like everyone became an expert in like fucking foreign policy. And they were like, oh, this is the president of Palestine, or like the head of Hamas, or again, whoever he was, is saying this. And it's like, all it takes is what quick Google search to know that this is like the former head of whatever the fuck he was involved in, right? Like he like stopped being the leader of whatever fucking thing he was the leader of in like 2016, I think, or something like that. So like This guy hasn't really been in power in like 7 years. And he just made a video that was like, yeah, we should do an international day of jihad on Friday because fuck Israel. And it's like, okay.
Am I the only one who is like, I don't want to diminish, a terrorist attack, because when they happen, it's awful. Like, it
Right.
really is.
Right.
But am I the only one who's missing the boat on if Palestine is actively at war with Israel, or whatever we're calling this? They're actively fighting. I don't know if it's technically a war. It should be a war.
I
I don't
think it
know.
is. I
Whatever.
think technically Israel is officially
Declared war.
declared war. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Palestine can't declare shit because they're not a real country. So anyway,
That's true.
so they
Yeah.
can declare whatever they'd like. Um. So when Palestine, or when allegedly, the leader of Palestine, no,
Yeah.
7 years ago he was, but it's like, oh, you know what we should do on Friday? International Day of Jihad. Yeah, why not? And it's like, wouldn't the Palestinians be like, we're a little busy?
Yeah.
Israel's blowing our shit up right now.
Yeah, you would think, but I think the point of it was like it was a call to all Muslims across the world. Which is, I mean,
Yeah, but
now again, we say this, and like there certainly are people that would do that, but
aren't
like
like
that's it's
85% of Muslims just like regular people
yes, and
that
that's what I'm
pray
alluding to.
towards Mecca and celebrate
Yeah,
Rosh
so
Hashanah,
that's what I'm getting at is, well, not Rosh Hashanah, but Ramadan.
Ramadan.
Um, Rosh Hashanah is Jewish, so if it's like very presumptive of these people to think that like just because you're Muslim and you live in like fucking Ohio, like you're just gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, the guy that used to run Hamas said that we need to have an individual international day of jihad. I think I'm gonna go blow up my local supermarket.
Well, I'm like,
Like that's like
yeah,
is like you
imagine.
said, like is a regular old Muslim gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna throw on a fucking suicide vest and go fuck shit up? Like they're just normal people.
Yeah, like
And
I'm trying
again,
to think, like, what,
most
like,
of
so
them. There
if,
certainly are some group that would do that, right? Because
yeah,
terrorist attacks do happen. But like you said, like
there's so many
it's
things
got to be at
wrong.
least 85% of Muslims are just regular old fucking people.
That's what I'm trying to, like, there's so many things wrong with this, like, notion, and people being like, oh my God. So it's like, if you don't have to be in a very public place, should you go to one? Probably not.
Right.
Like, but if you have to, you have to.
Yeah.
Kind of is what it is. But like, this is the thing. So let's just pretend that I have a neighbor who's Muslim, wife, 2 kids, a dog. Say he works at a bank, and
Yeah.
it's like, what's gonna happen? It's like his cousin's gonna call him and be like, "Oh, dude, did you hear the news?" It's like, "Oh no, what?" It's like, "Oh, well, this fucking clown called for a jihad." He goes, "Oh shit." Goes, "All right, I'll go to the basement. I guess I have to go fucking blow up a school now." Like,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
how it works.
Right. Right.
Like, the Muslim's gonna look at it and be like, "Oh, great, this fucking guy again."
Yeah, and not for
Go.
nothing either, but like most terrorist attacks are planned for like months, if
That
not
was gonna be my
years
next. That was gonna be my
in
next point.
advance.
But like, even still, it's like, for, like, we look at, call it like the extreme left to the extreme right of white people, and we look at them like, wow, these people are fucking assholes. Now imagine like a regular Muslim that just lives their life, and you
Yeah.
got this fucking guy being like, oh,
Yeah.
International Day of Jihad. He goes, great.
Yeah.
Now he goes,
Yeah.
I had Friday off. I was gonna go play 18 holes in the morning. I was gonna get some grocery shopping done, and I was gonna go to Lowe's.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna fucking spend my day getting stared at
Yeah.
by fucking stupid ass white people
Yep.
because this fucking asshole had to run his fucking mouth. You know what? I may as well just fucking work. Like, and it's like, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, that was my other thing was, if you were gonna like carry out a real and effective terrorist attack, especially in a major city, months, if not years.
Yeah, you don't plan that in a couple days. Like the guy doesn't drop a video on Monday and then Friday they blow up the World Trade Center.
Yeah, or
Right?
it's
Like that's
like,
not how that
yeah,
works.
you can't just like fucking Amazon Prime like a bunch of fucking TNT
Yeah, yeah.
and like be like, oh, I got 7 more payments left on this Audi. It's really unfortunate that I have to drive it into a garage and blow it up now. It's like, no, it's not
Yeah,
how this shit works.
yeah,
So it's like, again, like, there's certain things like if you don't feel comfortable going to like, the busiest part of the city near you, then don't. And if you don't have to, then don't. And no
yeah,
big deal. But at the other time, too, it's like you can't just sit there and like freak out over every little thing.
yeah,
Never mind if we really truly go back to the actual root issue of what's going on right now. Palestine or Hamas, whatever, it's all the same shit. One group of people went at another group of people who have been going at each other for fucking thousands of years. Since the beginning of fucking time, these people have fucking hated each other.
yeah. We went over that, and I think that was the last episode, right? It
Whatever.
was group of people on the
On one side,
eastern side of the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah,
like
we did that whole rundown.
they hate each other.
Yeah,
They're like that's what they're doing that over there.
yeah,
Stop making this like an international thing. Because ultimately, what it comes back to, Michaela and I were talking about this a little bit earlier because she was asking me some questions, just like clarification. This comes down to land in what most of the world recognizes as Israel.
yes,
Now, there's a select few people who don't recognize Israel as Israel, so whatever. It comes down to the land. Blowing up a building in fucking a major city and that is not in Israel doesn't get them any closer to what they want currently.
right.
So how does that make any damn sense? But no, some fucking guy with a fucking video camera ran his fucking mouth.
Yeah. So obviously Friday comes and goes, and big surprise, nothing
Nothing happened.
happens. And what's the first thing that everyone gets on Twitter and starts saying? Oh, it was AI. Everyone got duped by AI. It wasn't even the real guy. That wasn't
Oh my
the guy
God.
wasn't even the one that did a video. It was created by AI. And it's like, how do you know that? And regardless, like, who gives a shit whether it was real or not real? Like, nothing happened, right? And like you said, like, yeah, if a video comes out real or not real, regardless, and you don't feel comfortable going somewhere and you don't have to, then don't.
Go.
Just stay home. But like some people, and I saw some people on Twitter saying this too, like, and they have a valid point, is like if everyone decides to stay home that day and like is scared or whatever, then like they win, right? Like they being like the terrorists. And it's like, yeah, I understand that point. And like some of the people were saying was because classic America, they were like, go out and like just make sure you bring your guns with you. Like we're like continue about your normal everyday life, but like make sure you have your gun on you. And it's like that is a very American thing to like do and say, but like I think that's probably the way to go about it. Like if you do own one and you are going to go somewhere and that's the situation, like you should probably be prepared, right? Like,
It's like the
but
time in high school that I went to school on bomb threat day.
yeah, yeah,
I still went. Some people stayed home. Fine. Like,
we had quite a few of those. I would say there was at least one every year I was in high school.
yeah, so I wonder what I only remember the one. Like real like this one was I don't want to say it was real. I want to say it was concerning. Like they let us know the day before.
Yeah.
Um, it was like it was gonna be excused. Yeah, it was gonna be an excused absence if you didn't go, or like if you did whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just like one of those things. Like if you think logically, even about like a bomb threat, if someone really, really wants to blow up a school and like they're doing it maliciously with the intent to hurt people, why would they call it a threat?
Yeah, they're not going to call.
It doesn't make any sense. It
Yeah,
never made any sense. I never understood. Like that was like
yeah,
even like stupid me as a kid.
right,
When you learn what a bomb threat is, it's like, why would you do that?
right.
Now, if you're like hijacking an airplane, I understand why you would have a bomb threat because you have something to gain out of that.
Yeah,
If you call in a bomb threat early on a school, what do you have to gain if it's a legitimate threat?
right.
Now, I still think the administrators and the police and the FBI, whoever it is, you do need to do your due diligence because if you do nothing, being like, "Pah, who would
Yeah,
call one in
yeah,
early?"
yeah,
And then you sit there and be like, "Oh shit, they
yeah.
didn't react. They didn't react to my threat. It's off. Like
Right,
it's going now." So
right,
it's like,
right.
I don't know. There's just like a lot of there's just a lot of logical issues, which that I mean, you could just describe society
Which
today
is
as
most, yeah, I was going to
logical
say that's
issue.
most of the things.
And yeah, and this is the thing though, like it sucks, but like there's just certain things you like can and can't control. So like especially like terrorist attacks, like listen, you got to trust the intelligence in DC to fucking have that shit under control.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah,
the
it's
news is
not,
telling you to be careful, then there's nothing to, there's almost like if the news is telling you this to you, there's nothing to be afraid of. If DC all of a sudden, like, you know, deploys like the National
yeah,
Guard and starts fucking doing some stuff and you don't know why,
yeah.
that would
That's
probably be a
usually the
little more
time that's
concerning.
concerning. Yeah, yeah. Things get concerning.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, the National Grid's going to, National Grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. The electric company's going to be deployed.
Yeah.
National
Anytime
Guard.
you
Oh,
hear, oh, it's just a training exercise.
yeah, that's what I was gonna
Like,
say is we're gonna
okay.
we're gonna deploy the National Guard nationwide just for training.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't sound like training.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the thing that FEMA emergency response. Did your phone go off? I think all phones went off at 2 o'clock, like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I was on the golf course, I think.
It was like it was a whole thing. And then people were freaking out because some people like it went off at 1:57 and everyone was like tweeting and being like, I was gonna turn my phone off, but it went off 3 minutes early and I had to listen to it. It's like, dude, who gives a fuck? You hit one button on your phone and it stops making the noise, right? Like whatever. Um, but everyone was like getting all conspiratorial about that. They were like, what are they prepping us for? They're getting us ready for World War III. Or my favorite one was they're getting us ready for an alien invasion.
Tell you right now, there ain't nothing the government can do for a fucking alien invasion. I
Yeah.
fucking promise you that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Like Amy and I were just watching this show called Invasion on Apple TV Plus. Um, and it's kind of the first show on there that wasn't like a absolute fucking grand slam. It's not bad. It's not a bad show, but it's just kind of weird and it's slow and it's one of those shows where there's like multiple different storylines of like people all over the world because it's not effectively, it is an alien invasion. So like they follow people in like London and then they follow people in Japan, and then there's like US military in the Middle East that like shit's going on. And then there's people in New York. So it's like following what, one, two, three, four different storylines. And it takes like 3 or 4 episodes to like get going because there's so many different storylines. But like for what it is, I think it does a pretty good job of showing what really would happen if there was an alien invasion throughout the world, because like people just lose their shit and like they just go nuts, and it's pretty funny, like in a, I guess in a dark humor kind of way. But um it seemed like the show itself, again, like the aliens were kind of weird, kind of dumb. um but like the commentary, the more on like the commentary of how people would react during an alien invasion, I think was probably more accurate there. But yeah, like you said, like there ain't nothing the government's gonna do. Like sending out a fucking FEMA text on your phone is useless in an alien invasion.
Yeah, like, hey, heads up, there's aliens.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, what would it say?
yeah,
Like, go to your basement?
yeah. Like,
Yeah, it'd be like the tornado warning.
yeah, yeah. You just have to hope that fucking they don't go where you live.
I mean, if they show up, I'll just be like, hey, like I don't have a lot of skills, but I can probably help you with something if you want.
I'll be a slave for you.
Not even a slave. It's just like, yeah, man, like I'll help you. Like I'm not a good worker. I don't have a lot of skills. I kind of mouth off too much, but like I'll help.
Yeah,
I mean, it's over with now. Like
yeah,
you guys are here. Like you ain't going
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah. So, oh, speaking of conspiracies, this has been floating around the internet, and actually, um, Ross Patterson from the Drinking Bros posted about it. So I don't know if you have been following, um, but I'm sure some of our watchers on YouTube or listeners out there have followed the Powerball recently.
No, what's it?
So
What's it at?
it was just at like almost 2 billion, I think. Let me see if I can pull up Ross's tweet. Yeah. It was 1.765 billion. So he retweeted this, and it's a list of the 10 largest Powerball jackpots of all time.
They all have to be recently, right? I've never heard of some of these numbers.
Yes, the furthest back is 2016. So they're all 2016 or later. Um, so I will start with the number 10. Um, so number 10 was like 688 million in October of 2018. And there were two winners in Iowa and New York. The next one is 600, we'll call it 700. It's 699.8. So we'll call it 700 million in October of 2021. Winner was in California. Then it was 731 in January of 21, winner in Maryland. 754 in 2023 in Washington State. The sixth overall, these are all in the 700s. The numbers don't really matter. But so the sixth overall was in 2017. Winner was in Massachusetts. Fifth overall was in 2019. Winner was in Wisconsin. Now, let me know if you start to notice a pattern here. So now those bottom six, so the fifth overall, the winner in Wisconsin in 2019 was 768 million. The next four are the remaining four largest Powerballs ever hit. These are all a billion or more. So 1.08 billion in July of 2023, winner California. 1.6 billion January of 2016, three winners in California, Florida, and Tennessee. Number two, this was last week, 1.8 billion last week, again, winner, California. Number one overall, $2.04 billion in November of 2022, winner, California.
So I'm gonna throw out the obvious. and I want you to then tell me what the other side of the argument is.
Yes.
So I know what people are going to try to do here. Like, oh, something's fishy, California. So Powerball isn't in every state. I don't know how many states it is in.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
don't
how
know how
many.
many
I don't know
states
how
it
many
is.
states it is not in. Obviously, it's in Florida, Texas. I assume it's in New York. Um,
Yeah.
whatever. Obviously, California has the biggest population.
Oh wow, 45 states. So there's only 5
There's only 5
states.
missing. Okay. So then I assume like New York and Illinois and Pennsylvania, like whatever, like the higher populated states are. I'm sure they all have it. But
Yeah, it looks like the only ones that don't are Nevada, Utah, Alabama, and I don't know where their other ones are because there's only 3 states that are gray on
Alaska
this
and
map.
Hawaii.
Yeah, probably Alaska and Hawaii. That makes
So
sense.
okay, so none of those are really like highly populated states,
Yeah,
or like they're not gonna like break any records for high population.
right.
Um, so the odds of someone from California winning are always going to be higher because there are more people in California, thus there are more opportunities.
Right.
Now, that's me just going off of numbers that we have. We don't have player data. Like maybe New York has the most amount of Powerball players. Don't know. But I
Right.
know that the state with the most amount of people is California, right? It's not,
Right.
is it, or is it New York? No, it's
No,
got to be
it's
California.
California.
Yeah, okay. So mathematically, you would think that California has a higher odds of hitting. Now, mathematically, they shouldn't have the top 4 and like what was it, 6 of 10?
Yeah.
Seems odd. But yeah, what's the prevailing theories on this one?
The prevailing theory is that there's a conspiracy to have the Powerball winner happen in
Oh, because the taxes
California
are higher.
because they're the state with the highest taxes in the country.
Yeah, okay,
So
that makes sense.
the money goes back. The money goes to the government.
Yeah, I like that one. That one's pretty good.
Yeah. 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 So I just looked it up. There are 40 million people that live in the state of California, and there's 350 million people that live in the United States. So that's like 11.5%, right?
Yeah.
So um if you do that times 350 million, yeah, I mean that's still I don't know the math that I'm trying to do to figure this out, but
What are you trying to figure out?
like how many, oh, so what is what I guess what is 11.5% in as a fraction?
Oh,
Because that would
yeah, I
be
don't
like
know.
one in, call it 8 people, right? Or one in 9 people live in California in this country, right? Like that sort of ratio. So that you would think population wise, if one in, let's use a smaller number.
Well,
Let's say one
so
in 8,
it
one
would
in 8 people in the that live in the United States live in California. You would think it would be somewhat similar if you have, the 10 biggest Powerballs of all time to hit. One in 8 roughly might be in California, not 50%. Because it's the top 4 and then it was the 7th or 8th. So it's five out of the 10 largest ever. So 50% of the 10 biggest Powerballs ever to hit were hit in California, which is interesting. It's just like one of those fun conspiracies, right? Because it's like, oh, so the government gets that money.
they get a good chunk of it.
Yeah, yeah, right. Because California's fucking taxes are so high.
I like that one.
Yeah. So I
Although,
don't know.
so here's a flaw though. Here's a flaw because the federal tax rate is independent of what state you're in.
Right.
So for there to be a nationwide conspiracy, the nation would have to.
Well, they're saying like, and this is where it gets
So this
even
comes down
more.
to like the California lottery or California gaming or whatever it
Well,
is.
no, it becomes even more goofy because they say it's all to fucking promote Gavin Newsom's policies and like policy, like left wing policies, because California is probably the bluest state in the country, right? It's up there with New York. So like these people are like, oh, well, you're giving all of that money to the state and the state government so that they can reinforce their policies and have shitty politics that get covered up by like lottery winning money. Dude, like I read a lot of
It's a
fucking,
bit of a stretch.
yeah, I went down a rabbit hole on the fucking Twitter comments on some of these. But it's like because people are claiming like without the lottery money in winnings that they've collected over the last 6-7 years, like the state would have gone bankrupt because their political policies are so bad.
The state that has the sixth
The fifth
highest
largest or sixth largest fucking economy in the
in the
world.
world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
had me for a while.
I didn't say I
You
believed
had
any of
me
it.
for a
Yeah.
while. You don't have me anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Isn't that the thing with all conspiracy theories is like on the surface,
You had
it
me in the first
sounds,
half.
yeah, you had me in the first half. Like on the surface, it sounds like one of those things that it's like, okay, all right, I see where you're going with this. But then it always takes like a goofy turn.
Well, no, it's
And
just
you're
it's
like,
one thing where it's like I'm sitting here, I'm going, wait a minute. If we're gonna talk about this being like a nationwide type of thing, nationwide doesn't benefit because
right,
the federal government gets its tax like percentage is independent of where the
right,
person lives.
right.
The state of California pulls
Whatever,
whatever
40
income.
something percent.
So then you'd have to look at like how is California rigging the lottery? And like
Yeah,
what is California doing so special to it's almost like bidding on the Olympics. Like so what are they doing? Like how are they getting the bids for the Powerball winner?
right,
And
right.
it's like if they're spending money to pay off other people to then receive money, like what? It doesn't
Yeah,
stops making sense.
yeah.
Or it's stop even like for whatever percent plausible you thought it might be, 10% plausible,
Yeah,
whatever, it gets shot out the window because oh wait, doesn't work like that.
right,
But
right.
it sounds good to people that'll just be like, fuck California.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, it's all a
Yeah, you're
conspiracy.
right. California is California's rigging the lottery.
Yeah, it's all to support Gavin Newsom.
Well, that's the other part too, is what was Gavin Newsom doing in 2017 when one of those was hit?
Yeah. Well, I think he was still governor.
Was he? How long
Yeah,
can you be governor?
8 years.
Oh, it's only been 6 years.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know why I thought 2017 was so long ago for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like what happened on that split? Tennessee like fucked everything up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no,
Or
the real conspiracy guys will tell you, well, no, you have to make it look good.
Tennessee's building that new stadium now. So where do you think they got
Yeah.
the money from?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in 2017, they took whatever the tax rate was, and then, they invested that in compound interest, and now they have a new stadium.
Yeah. Or it's like something goofy where like, oh, that year is when Tennessee decided to increase their state income tax. They went from 4.2% to 4.8%. And that was the year that they won the fucking Powerball. Or something goofy like that.
Oh, wait for it. If there's another high one that comes through and the winner's in Massachusetts, it will be like, oh, see, the millionaire tax.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. That's a
Yep.
good point.
Oh, see, it's the extra 4%.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people out there, I think this comes from Bernie Sanders, um, that are proposing that every dollar made over $1 billion should be taxed at 100%.
So
So
that the
like you're
most you can make is $1 billion.
effectively you're capping people at making $1 billion a year, which is absurd. Like that's
Yeah,
dumb.
it's so bad idea. Here's the other thing too. People who believe that shit are fucking assholes.
Yes.
People who make that much money, that much,
Yeah.
they'll find a way to make sure
Yeah. Yeah.
that their net taxable income is
Right.
$1 billion exactly.
Exactly. Yes, they will. Because they can afford bookkeepers and accountants to
They'll
make
find a
that
way,
fucking
whether it's a
yeah.
foundation, an LLC, a property, they will find a fucking way. Don't you
Yep.
fucking doubt that.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, it's one of those fun ones. It's interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, the $1 billion tax is fucking stupid. That's the dumbest thing ever. Because it's like what it comes down to at the end of the day, too, is like in theory, it could be a good idea, but the government sucks. Like, I don't trust the government to use that money in a way that will actually benefit literally anybody. Because if the government got all of that money, what do you think is going to happen? People's salaries are just going to increase. Like, they're not going to actually use that money to like build roads and like pay teachers and build new schools like they say they will on the campaign trail. Oh yeah, no, we're going to raise teachers' salaries or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, are you really? Like, they don't do shit like that.
Don't
I
do
mean,
anything.
we've talked about that on the show before, I think, where it's like, if I could sit there and choose, like if there was, as tedious as it would be, if there was like an end of year tax form where I could decide where my tax dollars go, like that would be way fucking better. Like, so I bet you so many people would actually take the time to do that. And
I would do it.
it would phase out bullshit fucking programs that don't need to be there, because most people would take a look at that and be like, I'm not giving my tax dollars to that bullshit. Fuck that. And then those programs would go away.
Do you think there's anyone, and I don't know what the threshold would be, like I don't know how much money you have to make, but let's just use very, very simple math. Let's say someone makes 400,000 a year, so their taxable income is 25%. Again, that probably isn't correct, but let's just use it for easy math, because then the math is 100K.
Right.
So if someone looks at it and just goes, all right, well, what's the amount of math that I need to do this to be correct? And I'll just donate that 100K to whatever cause I like.
Yeah.
And then use that to almost get their taxable income to zero. Now, again, there's no factor that really does that.
Right.
But I bet you there's some people, because in order to do that, you need to make a certain amount. Like,
well, that's what these people do. Like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Like, everyone thinks that Bill Gates is like an amazing person and a great philanthropist. Oh, he gives so much money to all these charities. Yeah, he does. But the reason why he does isn't because he's a good person. It's because exactly what you just said. By him giving to charities, it reduces his taxable number. So he has to pay less taxes. So he's effectively choosing where his money is going to go. He'll give $20 million to some stupid fucking philanthropy that's trying to figure out how to plant corn in Ohio because he buys up all of the fucking farmland. He's the biggest farmland owner in the country. You know what I mean? Like it's shit like that. Like he'll do that. People are like, oh, Bill Gates, he's such a great guy. Look at how much money he donated $50 million to charities last year. Like, what a good guy. No, he did that so he doesn't have to pay taxes on that money. He's not a good guy. He's just smart. He's a good businessman.
yeah. Gotta find a way to expose some of that stuff. Because it's not tax evasion, because it's all legal.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta work on that one.
Yeah. I gotta start making more money first. I gotta
No, but
make
even
more
because it
money
can,
so that
I
I can
think it can,
afford to give it
I
away.
think it can happen on a smaller scale. I just I get tripped up too because of the way I get paid's weird. So because
Right,
some of
right.
it, and I'm sorry, the way I get taxed is weird.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I have to figure that one out.
yeah.
The human fund, money for people.
Yeah, or the best is like you create a fucking charity and then you give your own money to that charity,
One
which I
day,
think is partially what happens with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Like I think he gives his money to that foundation.
dude. I told you. I mean, I
Well,
assume I've
it's the Walpole Express.
yeah.
Like
I would say I assume I've said this. Like it's all legal, and actually, so like the way it works again, it's all legal, and the foundation actually, like, I believe the foundation actually accomplishes its goal. So it's like it kind of is a win-win for everybody. Like, because ultimately, that's the thing is like people are like, well, it's kind of scummy to like, you know, donate money to your own foundation, whatever. But it's like, but if the foundation does what it's supposed to,
right,
then it's a lot less scummy, right?
right,
And then the only person, because the only person you're screwing, if this is the big if, the foundation's got to be correct, like it's got to actually do whatever.
right,
So it's like, you know, if you create a foundation that is, it's going to, um, help. I'm trying to, dude, this is so bad. I'm like, because I'm not trying, like, I don't want it, like, I don't want a charity that goes to like cancer research, right? Because
yeah,
you can't track that. And it's like if you're donating to cancer research, inherently, like you gotta buy lab equipment, you have to pay rent on a building. Like that's what I mean. It's like so it's
right.
like the money doesn't all go to that. So like let's just say you do something like on a small scale and it's like your foundation is going to
Build homes for homeless raccoons.
why? That's like the worst. That's probably worse fucking example than my fucking cancer one. let's say you're going to start a school, right? You're going to start a school and it's going to be for
Underprivileged kids in Akron, Ohio, like LeBron James. That
I
his
was going to
school
say
is like
kids
going
that
out of
are I was going
business.
to say kids with like a disability, like a specific disability, like
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. So all the money goes to their education, the services they need, the therapies, the specialists, whatever, and they leave with a high school degree that they can be proud of. And then if they are of correct abilities, they can apply to colleges and they can go to college and whatever.
right,
And your money, your foundation 100% funds this thing, and you put all of the money that you taxable, whatever, into that. I don't see anything wrong with that because the only person that gets harmed is the government and fuck
right,
them.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Because like no one like because that's the thing is like the money's going to the correct place. Now some of these foundations they don't do what they're supposed to do. Now, I mean I'm only talking about a few of them, like or it's like again they um like there's some donations where all they do is donate to other foundations, like so they just keep like spinning it around themselves.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like these 10 donations, like companies or like 10 foundations, they just donate to each other. So it's like
yeah.
the same money just keeps spinning around,
Right,
but it's
right.
all untaxed. What it's a fucking like
It's
that shit's
sketchy.
stupid.
That's
But
sketchy.
but it's, again, someone usually benefits at the end of it.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah,
thing is like, as long as someone is benefiting at the end of it, then it's fine in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what that number is because you can't just donate it all
right.
because you still do get taxed.
Yeah, like there's
There's
some
a number
stuff
you got
that
to
needs
figure
to,
out, and like
yeah.
you got to figure out the your deduction, shit like that.
Well, it's similar to our buddy, who was the state trooper that used to work tons of overtime. And he figured out that in the state of Massachusetts, you only should work or enough to make $140,000 a year. And after $140,000, like the tax, like the amount of tax you pay on whatever, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
So
then you
like,
probably have it like if you can't do one like so if you're gonna do 145 or it's like 140 is better than 145 before you get to like again
right.
making up numbers 2.25.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you're gonna make 145, like you're better off working more and making 210, right? Like
Yeah. Or working less and just
and making
taking home.
135.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he used to do. He used to tell me that. I'm sure he said it to you too. Like he would take because he would take details all the time and he would know, like, okay, when I get to this number, I'm done. I'm not
Done.
going to take any more details. I'm just going to work my hours for the rest of the year and I'm all set, because he did the math, or he had an accountant do the math for him that was like, dude, like if you work and make $156,000 a year, you earn less money than if you work to make $135,000 a year. Like it's one of those things that how it worked out. And I don't remember specifically if 140 was the number. I think it
Whatever.
was, but
There's always a
it's
number.
all made up. Yeah, there's a number out there. It exists. It's a thing. So on that note, you want to wrap this bitch up?
Yep. So I sent you and Jones the video of someone making a chicken parm with pesto on
Yes.
it, a sandwich. And I sent you guys the exact separately, but I sent you the exact same thing. And I've seen it a few times. Like the chicken parm, take like one side of the sub, you put the pesto on top, then you make your chicken parm, put that on the bottom, melt the cheese, and then you have pesto chicken parm. Seems
Right.
simple enough.
Right.
And my thoughts on the matter, because I've seen it a few times, and I've also seen some dishes where they like in the pan they make like a regular red pasta sauce and then they add pesto to it.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it just doesn't like, I don't know. It seems weird because like pesto's good and like the marinara is good. We'll just call it marinara again, whatever, pomodoro,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Right.
They're both good, but it's like, does combining them make either of them better? And I'm like, I don't know that it does
Right.
or doesn't. So today I decided at the grocery store, we're fucking doing it. I kind of want a chicken parm. I'll get the pesto. Done deal. So my methods were I made like a quick red sauce, made the chicken parm myself, bought the pesto, didn't didn't make the
Yeah.
pesto.
Homemade pesto is fucking pain in the ass.
Honestly, so actually the biggest issue I've noticed with homemade pesto is it just doesn't stay. So it's like
Yeah.
you always make too much of it.
Right.
It's a pain in the ass to clean up.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like you got to clean the fucking blender of all like
Yeah,
the pine nuts and the basil and the fucking.
it's a
Yeah.
pain in the ass to clean.
Yeah.
But I've just always noticed like you always make so much and it's like you only need like a couple tablespoons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's like it's just a waste. Um so I bought that and um so Michaela had something. Michaela had it too. What I noticed was like the pesto just like did not come through really. So I again I just took a knife and I did like one normal layer of pesto on the top.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you can notice it's there, but like it didn't really come through.
Yeah.
So I'm almost looking at it like I think the pesto is extraneous. Like it just it's not enough to get through provolone, the chicken, and the sauce. Like I just
Yeah.
like it's not that like it doesn't mix. So I was curious. I'm like, does it even mix?
Right.
But it's not even that. Again, it's just it doesn't come through. Or at
Yeah.
least again, I didn't. But it's like I also didn't really want to throw like a whole lot more on there.
Yeah, because
Like, what are we doing here?
then it's just overwhelming, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was my kind of thoughts on the matter. So anyway, probably would not put that again. The pesto just doesn't seem like it doesn't take away. It just doesn't seem like it's doing a lot either.
Right.
Um, what I did do was because I had two chicken breasts and only one of because one was bigger than the other. Like I don't know why I thought they would be like symmetrical, but one was like way bigger than the other, and it fit perfectly in the loaf because I didn't even get like a sub roll. I bought like a loaf of fucking sourdough.
Yeah.
Um, so on the other chicken breast that I had fried, I did, I put the sauce on, I put some pepperoni on, then I put the cheese on, and I threw it in just to melt it, whatever. The pepperoni might be something.
Interesting.
So the chicken, I would say the chicken parm with pepperoni actually enhances the sandwich, whereas the pesto just kind of
Gets lost
just
a
didn't
little
do
bit.
much. Yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that though with the pepperoni, because pepperoni's fucking delicious.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's the thing with like I was like curious about the pesto. I'm like, is this gonna like what is gonna happen here? Turns out it just kind of got
Yeah.
drowned out.
Yeah. Interesting. Well,
So is that.
now you can say you tried it.
Yeah. Now I'll see fucking 45 videos of it being like,
Yeah.
you don't need to do it,
Yeah, I
especially if
need
you
to
make
do
the
it.
pesto, especially if you hand do the pesto.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cleaning for not a lot of reward.
You know what that actually makes me think of? And you will for sure be in Medford before I will. I mean, I literally have no idea when the next time I'll ever be back in Medford is. Um, but the next time you're there, if it's normal time, you should try and check out the mortadella head, the old espressos in South Medford by Tufts.
Oh, oh yeah, on the hillside.
Yeah, I follow them on Instagram, and it looks fucking incredible.
Wait, that's in Medford?
Yeah, the mortadella head
Oh,
fucking
I
pizzeria or
thought
whatever.
I thought you sent me whatever.
I have sent some things
I
from
thought
them before.
I thought it was in Somerville.
Well, yeah, I mean
Do they have multiple?
it's Tufts. It's right there. They probably say Somerville, but
Yeah, but the old espressos isn't Somerville.
yeah.
Where
Does
the
it
fuck is
actually
this
say
place?
Somerville? Because I was like 90% sure it was the old espressos.
Where? Oh, God, you send me too much stuff. Where the fuck? It's just called Mortadella Head. That's a bad name.
Yeah.
Should have been Speckhead.
Oh, dude, if you had spec.
College. Oh,
Okay.
it's in Davis Square.
Yeah. I just looked up the website. Maybe they moved? Because I could have sworn um that it was the old espressos. Or maybe I found that maybe it was a different restaurant that I'm just getting confused with. That could also be uh that could very well be a thing.
Well, one thing I can almost assure you of is I'm fairly certain you won't catch me in fucking Davis Square. I never minded Davis Square. It's just like what a fucking disaster. There's nowhere to park.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's a Peonies now, according to Google Maps. The old espressos
Espressos.
is a Peonies. I wonder if it moved because it was on Winthrop Street, like just further down
What
by
was Peonies?
yeah, no, what that's Main Street, right? It was down by the police station.
No, that was
That was Peonies.
mm, No, Peeny's used to be near like On the Hill Tavern in Somerville.
Well, maybe there was multiple.
I don't
Because it
know.
was, the Dunkin' Donuts that's right there across the street, kind of from the police station, where like the road forks to go Mystic Ave and Main
Yeah,
Street.
so there was
There's a
it was
literally
across
across the street
on the
from that
corner,
Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I think that was Peeny's.
and the guy got that was Pinky's
Oh,
because the guy
yeah,
got in trouble for like
you're right. You're right.
before weed was legal. Whoever owned that got in a shitload of trouble
Selling weed.
for smuggling.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It was Pinky's Pizza.
Not great.
Yeah. So Peeny's was in Somerville. So it moved over to the old espressos. All right. Yeah, I was like, but I have no reason to ever go back to Medford at this point. So, all right. So my final thought is, I know it's my final thought, but it's going to involve you, and you had your first hibachi experience last night.
Yeah.
So we went out and we went to a hibachi spot in North Attleboro, and it was great. Actually, the food was really good. Shout out to Shogun on Route 1 in fucking North Attleboro. But it's funny because so it was the four of us, right? And there was like there was an older couple, they're probably like in their 70s. A man and a woman that was like sitting in like our little area. So it wasn't like a raucous fucking table, but you could see that the other tables around in the hibachi spot were like the campy fucking white people, like, oh my god, look what he's doing with the spatula. He's flipping an egg on the spatula. Whoa. And they're like clapping and wooing and like, oh my God, this is amazing, incredible. And it's like, I think it's funny because that's like the typical hibachi experience, right? Like that's what people do. Like, I think it's hilarious again because it's white people going to like this fucking restaurant where an Asian guy who like most of the time doesn't speak great English does the whole like ha 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 yeah and like flips the spatula and does all kinds of crazy shit, right? And they cling the spatulas on the fucking the flat top and they spin them and they do tricks and stuff, and all the white people sit there and they clap, right? And they go yay, and it's like we were just kind of there to like hang out, have a good time, have a couple drinks, and like eat some good food. And I don't know, I just I kind of want to get your thoughts on like the whole hibachi thing because again, it was your first time.
Yeah, I mean, the food was good.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, like the fried rice like that he did right then and there, it was really good. Like I've never had like every time I've had fried rice, it's like that was probably sitting somewhere for a while. But
yeah,
yeah, to have it just like come right to you, I definitely like that. But yeah, I mean, I was even like, I'm like, because going into it, I was like, oh, they usually do like the sake and they squirt it in your face, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't,
yeah,
I don't need sake.
yeah, yeah,
Never mind if it's like out of a squirt bottle and you're just firing it down. It's like, what did that bottle cost you? $3.75.
right, right,
Like, it's not going to be good.
yeah, exactly.
Um, but yeah, then even like when he was like flipping the zucchini at us, I'm like, bro, I'm not going to catch this. I'm on my second Mai Tai. Like, even if I was 100%, I'm probably not catching this in my mouth. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you expect me to fucking track a piece of zucchini? Like, that ain't gonna happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's fine. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be sitting there like clapping, like, wow,
Yeah. Oh my
wow,
God.
he's moving those spatulas so fast. It's like, yeah, but can you cook that fucking ribeye right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
or is like, yeah, is that shrimp gonna taste good? Because like
Yeah. Cause I'm here to
that's what I'm
eat.
more.
Like I'm not here to like be entertained by.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, first of all, we checked the first box, so the Mai Tai was okay.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. It's like you get a Mai Tai, sometimes they taste like shit.
Right. Right.
So it's like, okay, the Mai Tai is good. We're good here.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't it's I would do it again, but I'm not gonna pretend it's something it's not.
Right. Right.
So I would do, and the reason I would do it again is because I actually thought that the food was quite good. Like
Yeah.
better than I would expect, or better than like, but again, I've never done hibachi, so it's like it's better than a stir fry that I've had before. It's generally kind of better than the Chinese food that you get served,
Right. Cause they literally cook it right
like
there in
right in
front of
front of
you.
you. So it's
Like it
like,
doesn't get any fresher than that.
yeah. So it's like I did like that aspect to it.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I don't need the sake. I don't need,
Yeah. I don't need the theatrics, right?
yeah.
Like he tried at first, but I think he figured out that
You
like,
read the room.
yeah, we were just there to like hang out, right?
Yeah.
Like we weren't there for like to fucking
Yeah.
celebrate
Watch your
whatever
every
fucking
move. And
hibachi culture, right? Like I'm not there to be mesmerized by you flipping a spatula.
no, because I know it's like, it's all fucking like, wow, he's moving that thing so fast. It's like, yeah, but he hasn't cooked anything yet. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah, like he did the onion volcano with the 151, like he lights it on fire and he does the fucking he does like the smiley face with the oil and lights that on fire and it's like all right, cool, like what about this food, right?
yeah.
Like it's yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah,
how good is the food going to be?
yeah.
And
So it
that's what it's got to be for me. It's like, if the food's no good, then waste of time.
right, right. So yeah, I mean luckily like you said the food was good, the mai tais were good. um
Other than that, I could care less.
yeah, exactly, right? Like I don't
Yeah, I
need the
mean, again,
fucking
the biggest appeal for me is it's cooked right then and there. Like
right.
that part I like, because then I know what the food
Yeah, like you
is.
said, you're not getting fried rice that got scooped out of a fucking container that was made yesterday, right?
Yeah, or like, yeah, like, because that was the thing, that was the big thing I noticed, is that fried rice tasted like really good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Definitely not the same as like eat, because like again, like I don't eat at Chinese places a lot. Um, but again, I don't know how often people go out to Chinese restaurants and eat at the restaurant. I don't know how often that happens.
yeah. I
I
don't know.
genuinely, I'm not saying like I'm not saying like I'm skeptical because people don't do it. I genuinely don't know. But like my
Well, he
family,
goes every Monday, every Sunday
nobody
goes to
picks up. That's what I
Bailey's.
mean.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh, to like sit at
I
the
mean,
yeah.
sit down.
That's true. That's true.
But like my family did that for holidays for a while. So, but yeah, I've never had fried rice that came out like the fried rice I had yesterday.
Yeah.
And then never mind like the shrimp. Like the shrimp I got was good.
Yep.
Steak was, I mean, it was good. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, but it's
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna pretend that's something it's not either.
Right. Right. It's New York strip.
It was
Like
good.
it's a strip steak. It was
Yeah,
good.
it
Yeah.
was a strip steak,
It was seasoned
cubed.
well.
It
Like
was a
yeah.
yeah, cubed up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was good. I mean, I would do it again, not price. I wouldn't do it like 6 times a year, but
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm not like next week, like, oh, we gotta go back.
yeah, I gotta go again.
Yeah.
Or
But
it's
it's
like
one of those.
I'm only eating Chinese food hibachi style from
Yeah.
now on. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
But it's like one of those where like, you go maybe like 4, 5, 6 months and you're like, you know what? Like, I think I could kind of go for hibachi, right? It's like one of those things where like every 5, 6 months, you're like, I think I could do that.
Yeah, or if it's like if you do have a group of probably need what? Yeah, 6. You probably need 6. So it's like if 6 of you were like,
Yeah.
do you want to go. There's a decent like for like you guys like near you. It's like, dude, there's a
Right.
decent place, and what did it take us? 7 minutes to drive there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it's right up the street. It's not bad, and we can all sit there like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah. And if you guys are into it, you can do the whole like white people
yeah,
campy
you can
thing.
do the sake stuff. I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I'm just there to like eat good food and like
I'd
have a
rather
good
drink four
time.
mai tais than have fucking sake shot down my throat.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yes. Yep.
I feel like shit the next day though.
Yeah. So, but yeah, hibachi is cool. Like I said, again, shout out Shogun, North Attleboro. If anyone watches or listens that's in that area, gets the stamp of approval. And they get it, right? Like the chefs get it. Like you said, they read the room. Because I think the same chef was like over at a different table after
Yeah, he
we
was doing it. He
finished,
had the gun.
and he
Like,
was doing the whole like, hey, yeah, like woohoo, and everyone's fucking cheering and clapping and doing the whole white people thing, right? And it's like, yeah, man, like that's cool. Like that's impressive, right? Like you spun the fucking spatula and you caught the egg, you threw the egg in the air and you caught it on the spatula. Like,
well, it's just again, it's like you know a good hibachi chef when they can figure out how this group of people
right,
you need to interact with this group. It's like any entertainer, dude. Like
right,
it's the same
right,
thing.
right.
They just happen to be able to cook. Like you got to know what's in front of you. And it's
Yeah.
like looking at the four of us and then the two old people, he's probably like, you know what? I'm not.
Because we were like pretty heavily engaged in conversation the entire time,
Yeah.
just between the four of us.
Yeah. But then when you have like, when you got kids and you have families and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, can you do the one?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Yeah. You start getting requests for shit. Like, yeah. Yeah. Or you get the, oh, it's this person's birthday. And then they do like a whole big fucking birthday thing on the hibachi or whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay. I get it. So that is going to do it for us. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Click that button up top. Click the thumbs up down below. Tell everybody you know about the show. Help spread the word. Subscribe also if you're an audio only listener. If you happen to use Spotify or iTunes to listen to this, you can also leave us a review and 5 stars. So go do that, please, and thank you. Much appreciated. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Website, sarcasmspeaks.com. You go to the merch store, buy some of our merch. You can get that through the link in our Instagram bio for the merch store. What else we got here? Oh, shout out to mybookie.com. Use the promo code SarcasmPod when you sign up, and they will double your first deposit up to $1,000 over there. And then we also have Noon Brew. Shout out to them. I was drinking them again earlier, as I always do. Great nighttime sleep tea, whatever you want to call it. Magnesium supplement, whatever. Go to noonbrew.com. Use the promo code in the show notes, and that will save you 10% off your order every single time you check out over there. And then lastly, we have the Ice Pod. So you go to the podcompany.com, use the promo code below, and you will get $10 off your purchase plus free shipping over there. So that's it for us. So until next time, good night, everybody.